Hi Claire, I just watched your discussion post. I wanted to watch your post because I saw that you also were discussing the Arab American culture. And I really noticed that in something that you cited when you were talking, you also brought up how discrimination post 9/11 really kind of amped up. And I think that's something that even us as young adults, we are well aware of, but I don't think we actually considered the whole thing. I was in first grade when 9/11 happened, and growing up, I kind of knew there was this stigma around Arabs and the Muslim culture, but I never actually really thought, well, not all Arabs are Muslim and not all Muslims are Arab. And then I never thought about how does that make, Arab Americans feel that come to this country that have nothing to do with any of the terrorist attacks. And it really made me think. This exact project, this discussion had me researching and seeing the discrimination that happened against all these people in their jobs and their careers. It really was sad. I wanted to bring up, though, because you mentioned the 14th Amendment and how that should be protecting them. I live in Florida, and Florida is a right to work state, meaning that essentially you can be fired for anything. So I think sometimes that data can be a little bit misconstrued because I could be let go from a position and I could claim discrimination, and there's no way to really prove that. So I'd be interested to see where all this information and this data is coming from, because if Arab Americans are working and they've been reporting discrimination or discriminatory acts in the workplace and nothing's been happening, I feel that justice has not been served to those people and that they should probably look into maybe taking action about that. Just a little thing that kind of had me thinking, because I don't know, I think it's, if you're getting let go from a position because of your culture, I think that America has lost its way. You also brought up the media coverage on the terrorist events. That's very interesting. I'm going to have to look into that because I never, you're listening to the news, you're watching the news. I never thought to look into the data and actually see what percent of these terrorist attacks are actually from the Arab culture or from Muslims. And you said 35%, and that's, kind of low considering. Um, and then you brought up how you were going to help them through therapy. And I thought it was a good idea that you said you were going to build a really strong rapport with them. I think that's great across the board for all clients that you're dealing with. But I think especially when working with the Arab culture, you want to make them feel that they're heard and that they're in a safe environment. And yeah, I think you did a wonderful post and I really enjoyed watching.